speaker. We've had 3 so far, and it's been an eye-opener for many people, I hope, that the information that's been disclosed with Mark, Lee, and then Michael, and Gordon will speak in a moment, which is another huge disclosure of what's happening. So, are you all right now, Michael?
Yeah, I just...
You got on Facebook now, have you?
No, just imagine I'm not here, Tom.
Okay. So,
Yeah, can I just say one thing? I don't know if anybody knows, there's a guy called Michael Challenger in South Africa.
Yeah.
He's been fighting the bankers,
yeah,
and apparently through I've looked some of his stuff, and he goes on to state that the bankers don't, the judges
yeah,
aren't really fully aware of the law and are taking advice from the bankers. Now he has a system called Ubuntu, and they're spreading worldwide. It's actually, it's actually spreading now in the UK and around the world to basically to try and create a system where there is no money, you don't involve money,
yeah,
and you do, if you want something doing, I come and do it for you, and then sometime I might want something, and it's getting worldwide.
I think we're already. I think we're all on that same hymn sheet, but there's a lot of things that's going on, like strategic agreements. For instance, there's a lawful group, which is they've been taking lots of property. I did speak earlier on about them, where they've actually put their own solicitors in with the police. So when they come along, Eversheds have got their own in-house solicitors with the police. So there's the bailiff's outside somebody's house, Eversheds representative out there, and the police. And we're all saying, this is a fake warrant. That's if they try and show it. And they go on the phone, they phone up the police station, they go into the legal advisors, who's Eversheds, whose client is, let's say, Bradford and Bingley. Where is this information actually going? It's fake. They're being told by Eversheds to the police that it's okay, and it's not okay, because the police should be totally independent, and they're not. The council should be all independent, but they're not. So this is another layer of corruption, and it's just like that gentleman in South Africa,
Michael
isn't it?
Challenger.
Yeah.
He's on Facebook as well.
Yeah, I've seen some of the stuff. So, thank you very much, Michael. That was absolutely excellent. And we're now going to have Gordon bring you up to date with some new announcements, I believe, about Finchley Road, and surely no more corruption, is there?
What do you mean, the rock job? I'll teach you something.
Okay. So,
Thank you, Tom.
Gorden Bowden. I'm going to leave it here.
Yeah, the directional finding coming out of a bus station didn't work. If anybody's seen some of my stuff on Facebook, pardon?
Hello.
Slow closer.
Let me turn it up, see if it works.
No, just you've got no extension on it.
Take it right
Ah, that's it.
Let's swing it back. That's it.
Can you hear me now? Okay, most of my stuff on YouTube focuses around certain boiler rooms. They're all boiler rooms linked to the Rothschilds. Most of you would not have done the research because it takes years to do that research, to just follow the money. And I started back in 2001 understanding a simple process of engineering, and that's just dismantle something, one simple address. And I followed it all the way back to 788, 790 Finchley Road. Well, it seems to have worked because they've abandoned it. It's up for rent. So when you dismantle something like that and you do a runner, which they've done, they have to run to a conduit address to which they operate other boiler rooms. And what they've done is they've abandoned it to L. Scott House, which is also run by David Allen Perlman. And he is directly linked to the Rothschilds and a certain person like Lord Janner. You know, have anybody heard of Lord Janner? Oh, he's a nasty guy, eh? Well, he was. But Lord Janner was investigated by the Leicester Police. And the Leicester Police at that time included another gentleman called Mick Creedon. And Mick Creedon is the the Chief Inspector of the Derbyshire Police. Now, he and I crossed swords many years ago with a woman called Tara Andrea Davison, when I recovered from a website 2 pages. And within those pages were 7 header bars, and they included members of the House of Lords, Derby Police, Gordon Brown, Tony Blair, paedophile investigations. And this Miss Tara Andrea Davison purported to have been the Secretary for the Department of Trade and Industry and arms to Iraq investigator and a paedophile ring investigator. Now, I followed that lady through one address, 788, 790 Finchley Road. That had nothing to do with what she was being charged with, running a massive boiler room in Bangor. That lady led me to other things like dying child begging letters, fake ID cards, money laundering to Limassol in Cyprus, money laundering to Vancouver, Canada. All this surrounds one address, 788, 790 Finchley Road, and its satellite boiler rooms, to which as an engineer I become quite good and quite fast at identifying specific names and addresses which all link into a circuit. And that circuit is all controlled by one address in St James's Square, and that is 6 St James's Place, St James's Square. And that took me back all the way to South Africa to a company in 2001 that was linked to my partner's fraud, her and 800 other victims. And that company was a company called Metarex, which was strangely registered at 6 St James's Place, St James's Square, along with many other companies, mining companies, that have all run as billion-pound debt-facilitated companies, including a company called Rio Tinto. Now, I don't know if you know who the major shareholder of Rio Tinto is, but it's the Queen. She's a major shareholder. And it's all those addresses in St James's Square are the Rothschilds' addresses, every one of them. He owns the whole network of St James's Square. And any of the companies that have operated out of there include these oil, gas and mining companies, which are billion-pound debt-facilitated companies. And I mean debt-facilitated to the Royal Bank of Scotland, Lloyds Bank, Barclays Bank, all loan money under the promise that when they start production at a profit, they will get their money back with interest. But nobody does the research work, because trust me, that's one of about 300, and it can be witnessed, I've got the stuff, is to understand the mechanics of how you can steal billions. In the last couple of years, I've focused on one company, and that's the way we have to do it, is focus on one company that will bring the whole system down. And by bring the system down, I mean take out the legs of anything and it can't run. And so when you look at the heads of the board of directors of those companies, that's where I've started to nail these people. And there's no way out, because they'd have to take me to court. I've named them on the internet, you can see them. Many members of the House of Lords, Amber Augusta Rudd, she's one of them. I mean, she's got 49 companies, I think, and interlocked to 788, 790 Finchley Road. So that's a company address run by a head or a board of people. David Allen Perlman, Mary Philomena Stevens, Deborah Carhan, the whole Carhan family. They've been doing this for generations. They've got away with it because their modus operandi has been so successful, because they've got members of the House of Lords in their back pocket. They're the corrupted side of the House of Lords, which needs to be confronted with evidence that will bring them down. And the best way to do it is start with one company. So I've started with a company called Anglesey Mining PLC, so we don't have to go to the jungles of Peru or Venezuela or Argentina. Just straight down the M5, M4, get on the side road to Anglesey, and in that island there's a one mine shaft. And that mine shaft is at 330 metres. When I worked for Goldfields, it was 2,600 metres. So quite deep, and that was an ultra rock hard gold mining mine, 27,000 staff. So I've got a good idea of mining operations, and profitable. Now that mine at Anglesey was sunk in 1989 to 1991 by a company called Cementation Mining, who worked for Nyrex, who worked for Sellafield. Now I'm not an idiot, but many people in Anglesey are. And the reason I say that is because it is my belief that that mine is a nuclear waste repository for Sellafield. And it was sunk at the right time because Magnox North decommissioned one of their nuclear power stations on the mainland in North Wales in 1989 to 1991. I wasn't the only one that picked this up, because Private Eye, and I've got their full reports here, Private Eye picked up in their articles, which I've got the 2 copies, is that they picked up that Cementation Mining, Nyrex, Sellafield, all fell within the guidelines of the operational sinking of a repository. Now, anybody any miners here, any ex-miners? No?
Family were miners.
Pardon?
Family were miners.
Miners, all right. So in a basic mine, I'll just give it a quick brief. You have to have a vertical shaft or an incline shaft, and then you have to have cross galleries with a ventilation shaft. And at the ventilation shaft, you have to have a second headgear where you have a second means of conveyancing people or materials if there's a main accident in your main shaft to get the people out. Then you have fans on the top which draw the air through the galleries to let the people work. Now I was very fortunate that because of my experience, I worked, say, on some of the biggest, deepest gold mines in the world. And I've got a good idea of how a system would work if it was to be turned into a production mine. This mine in Anglesey was only sunk for one reason. It was sunk as a covert nuclear waste repository. And my argument, coming from Cwmbran in Wales, is that the people, including yourselves in England, have no concept what the half-life of the material, the nuclear waste that they've been taking out and dumping. They have to dump it. Before they used to dump it off ships until they got caught. But the people that we're dealing with are so intelligent in covert actions that all link back to fraud. It's all about one thing, money. Lots and lots of money. And they don't care about people in 200 years' time. They're thinking about what they can make now before they die. And most of them that I have found are politicians, like Amber Augusta Rudd. Anybody here is welcome to look on Company Check and see Amber Augusta Rudd. She operates under 2 ID numbers. When you check to Monticello PLC, you'll find out where it was formed. 788, 790 Finchley Road. She has to answer to you. She is a public servant. What is Theresa May made her the Secretary General and allowed her, with her history of financial debt facilitated companies to the tune of hundreds of millions, what good is she going to be for the country to bring us to some sort of fruition in business worlds with us pulling out of Europe? She has no right to be appointed to that position. She should be spending 25 years in jail, along with people like Tony Blair and David Cameron. We all talk about the Rothschilds, but when you start to go into the conspiracy side, what you're leaving yourself open to is you're leaving yourself open to ridicule, and they've tried it with me. I don't care. I'm 65, I've had a guts full of people taking the mick out of you. I'm going to try my best. as with what left I've got of life, is to bring it to your attention how you can bring these people down and to account. You have to start with one place. Never mind knocking on the Rothschilds' door. Let's start with Anglesey Mining. There's a board of directors. Those board of directors are all running. They're all running now because I've nailed them. Once you start to let them retire or move away from a company, they've left a trail, and it's that slime trail that I'm good at picking up. And I've used my acumen as an engineer to dismantle very complex systems. And believe you me, within here, when it comes to credibility, I'm going to invite somebody from the audience to read out my credibility, if you don't mind. It might link individuals. Anybody willing to come up and speak on the mic? Somebody of integrity? Anybody? Tom, where are you, Tom? Come on, somebody, just come up and read this.
All I can say is lawful rebellion.
Lawful rebellion. Come on, there's a man coming up. There must be plenty of men here. Good man, good man.
From reading this.
Read it. It's in big letters. I always write in big letters. All right. I've been working closely with somebody in the Sudan. He works for an investigation company in one of the biggest frauds in history, and that is Arriva Nuclear France and Uramin Inc. And this gentleman and I have been corresponding after he contacted me for help. So I've helped him. And his name is Mark Eischinger. You see that, Mark Eischinger?
Eischinger, France,
Yeah.
Korea.
All right, so if you want to, this is in relation to the Sunday Times journalist. His name is Tom Harbour, if he would like to contradict anything that I've said. Okay, if you can see it's the same guy, Mark Eischinger, to me, and reviewing the Sunday Times journalist. So it's got a sent date, it's got an IP address, which is my address, and it's to me. And so this was my attempt to get the journalist to speak to Mark Eischinger, who is operating in the Sudan, working for the French prosecution service. So,
Okay, so it's dated the 4th of November 2016, 1621. At 1621. Yes, of course, given my contact details, I am in Niger right now until the 18th of November, but we can use Skype and email for your confidential information. A full presentation of the Uramin case has been done to the FBI on Friday 28th of October, and I made nice discovery in the US. The case is fully eligible for FCPA and RICO, organised crime, and I gave all the evidence for that. In Canada, the case was presented during a conference to the Procureur de la Couronne, and is still going on. Of course, the French authorities are aware everything I gave them a copy, as I always do. So we made decent progress, and Dattels is not going well. It's not getting well. Not a single of the scan is now working. Anyway, all the best to you, etc.
now that's the company's name.
Contact details, Happy Capital.
Now I just want a mini brief here. The most important part of it, say it's might sound a bit long.
Okay, this one's dated the 4th of December 2016 at 10:38. This is a reply to yourself, is it?
Yeah.
Thanks, Gordon. Indeed, I found a few interesting details. On my side, you will see that at the end of December and January, Uramin will be more widely exposed. Actually, it was not exactly a scam to be compared with a pure boiling room. Areva paid €2 billion on purpose, perfectly knowing that it was an empty shell with just a taste of uranium. The idea was to bribe Thabo Mbeki and the ANC for a large contract of building 12 EPR facilities in South Africa. The amount of the bribe was around $460 million. John Doyce did the money laundering out of Bermuda for Dattel's gang. Then another amount of $260
Yeah, $260 million.
Oh, it's a million.
Yeah, it's a million.
So there another amount of $260 million was used to bribe the Chinese delegation, Kang Rixin, and 60 other Chinese officials. There is a Taipei Times link. Many of the Chinese served life sentence.
Absolutely, yes.
A third identified amount of around $500 million was used to bribe Areva Kazakh partner Mokhtar Zakishev. The guy did share with Nur Sultan Nazarbayev, so he is jailed since 2009 and for a long time. We are lucky because many beneficiaries are already in jail in their own countries. We just have to put behind bars the people who did the corruption. Of course, this huge contract in South Africa was never signed, and that is a blessing. EPR works nowhere, and it would have been catastrophic. I can't give you more details, it would jeopardise the investigation, but I believe that this will seriously impact the AIM market, and in Canada, the law 220 will be proposed again to Parliament. Without being optimistic, this could be the end of the easy scams, at least both of these markets.
Thank you very much. Thank you. The emphasis there is that international corruption and money laundering is going on an industrial scale, where these people are setting up deals, normally channeled through Chamber of Commerces, whether it be the London UK Chamber of Commerce with China, with America, with Australia. These people are dealing massive multi-million pound deals. This Mark Eischinger, if you check him up on the internet, he was taken to court 4 times by a woman called Miss Anne Laveron. She was Europe's 4th most powerful woman. She took him to court. Mark used my information on these mining companies, and he won 4 court cases with costs. At this moment in time, this very moment in time, French prosecutors are busy right now moving to bring these people to justice. When they go to justice, because Miss Anne Laveron was made a director of a company called Vodafone. Ever heard of Vodafone? Oh, you heard of that one. What about Rio Tinto? Because when I published my stuff on the internet, she resigned from Vodafone and ran then to Rio Tinto. Now, because of the publications, in order not to turn the emphasis of sight for the individuals to Rio Tinto, she's just resigned from Rio Tinto. So I'm doing a good job, trust me. And they can take me to court anytime they want. When I start to publish these correspondence, there's people going to put themselves in the corridors of power. That's what I want to do. Now, I'll go back to Anglesey Mining, because the directors of Uramin Inc., who purchased a worthless pot of dirt in Namibia for $100,000, 8 months later they sold it for $2.5 billion. Now that's a good markup, isn't it? I mean, if you were going to go to an auction and you took something worth $100,000 and you sold it for $2.5 billion and then wrote it off, because that's what Areva Nuclear France did. And they're a public listed company. So they have responsibility to the shareholders and to the people of France, that when they're given board of directorships to act on behalf of the people, much like our government and Amber Augusta Rudd, they have a duty of care to act on behalf of all the people. I'll ask you, if you want to question me later on, how we can start to dismantle these people. The best way, go to Anglesey, confront your MP, ask them about the information that I gave Jeremy Corbyn. Can I prove I give that information to Jeremy Corbyn? You wait, I'll let you listen to a recording I made with his Labour Party network. And that was yesterday. So you can't get any more modern than that. This is going back to 2016. I gave him information that would lock up Amber Augusta Rudd, Tony Blair, not just for war crimes, for treason. This is what we look at, treason. So, you know, even now, when I've looked at some of these mining companies, in 1 year, they operated, Anglesey Mining have operated since 1984. They have never mined 1 teaspoonful of dirt other than the sinking of the shaft. Now, if you're a board of directors and you're getting paid £60,000 a year to act as a board of directors, how much return are you giving to your shareholders? Well, nothing really, because all they're doing is operating on what they call a pump and dump company by manipulating the share price to encourage investors to throw more money at it, where they promise that they will use that money to the benefit of the previous shareholders who purchased at the very beginning. And what they fail to tell you is that when they use that money, they purchase other worthless pots of shit in Canada and in Sweden, flooded mines, care and maintenance, you know, defunct historic tourist attractions. These things are worth nothing. However, they see them as vehicles where they can start a startup company, float shares, 30, 40 million shares at 0.2 pence per share, and then expect the investors to make, or to become multi-millionaires. And that's what they're treating us like idiots. Trust me. I've not looked at one company like Anglesey Mining. I've looked at over 1,000. And so what I've got is I've got the complete dismantlement of over 1,000 companies that have, even in the Falklands, like Desire Petroleum, Border and Southern, Falkland Oil and Gas, one exploration company. All those companies have a market capitalisation of £1 billion. Do you know how much oil they found? Nothing. You could find more oil in an empty tin in a garage forecourt. But they cash burned £1 billion. Do you know why? Because they got members of Parliament as directors. That's why. And those are the people who have the audacity to take a salary as a politician and yet be on multiple boards. Because what they're doing is they, as I often call it, they're extracting the urine out of you lot, because you've not understood how you can steal billions of pounds. Now I'll give you that opportunity. Anybody want to contradict me, you come to me and we'll sit one-to-one and I'll show you documents and correspondence that'll make your toenails curl. I don't want to do that. You have to learn how to use a very basic search engine, and which will it'll corroborate what I'm telling you now. I don't want to be the start of anybody breaking a window. I don't want that. I want the politicians who stand to serve the public to be open to accountability, to trust, for honour and integrity. Because that's what I served for when I joined up, and I was a fool. But I believed in serving for the country wherever I went in the world, that one day we would have people in a government who would be honest. Do you understand? And what I have found in the last 16 years made me want to vomit, and that's what I do today, much like Tom. We all have our different areas of expertise. Mine is to look at fake oil, gas and mining companies on the biggest casino for Rothschilds, Freemason, mafia, organised crime in the world, and it's called the AIM, the Alternative Investment Market. Now they operate with a subsidiary on the main board, which is the London Stock Exchange. Anglesey Mining, for 34 years, have never mined anything, have run at hundreds of millions of pounds. Where is the due diligence? Where are the auditors? Where are the accountants? Where are the law agencies who can see? We're supposed to have intelligent people in government. How can they allow this to go on? Well, it's because they've got people like Amber Augusta Rudd in it. That's why. And that's what I said, is that if you use your common sense, why haven't we got politicians that can see what I can see? Why aren't they doing anything about it? And as it might the previous gentleman, is that when you look at it, it's because when you start to mention certain politicians have got their hands in these, or corrupt hands in these systems linked to the Rothschilds, you can't make any comment in the courts. I'm lucky, I've had 6 years of experience of defending a defamation case in the Royal Courts of Justice. And I've seen how the justice system works, and it stinks. And it stinks, but luckily, we won our case. But we were awarded £10,000 each in damages plus costs. My costs are in excess of £70,000. I'm going to follow that woman wherever she is. I will be all over her like a bad rash, no matter where she is, because the documents that I recovered from her file, which is in here, it's got that she was the secretary for the Department of Trade and Industry, and she had letters from Lord Doug Hoyle to the Chief of the Derby Police to get her case sorted out very quick. So I've got an automatic responsibility as my duty of care. When I see corruption in the House of Lords linked to convicted criminals, it should be all over the major media. I didn't lose the case, we won it on appeal. Do you understand? Is that we won our case, we've been awarded damages. All the court files, which are like this, should now be public access documents to bring these people, including the politicians, the Rothschilds, all to justice. But when you, like you said, is that when you start, nothing happens because you're trying to defeat the system that's been operating for hundreds of years. I'm going to try and do my best to bring these people using one company, Anglesey Mining PLC. There's a member of the House of Lords in that as well. But I followed it all from one person. His name was Malcolm Alec Byrne. And I know every single director, past and current, of that company, and they've all been involved in multiple other Ponzi scams. And they've stolen hundreds of millions of pounds of investors' cash, banks' cash, pension funds, public and private investors. They've stolen hundreds of millions, and nobody cares. I care, especially if they're using nuclear waste, and that's my, as a nuclear waste repository, and that's my concerns. Money is one thing, but when you're talking about a half-life of the dirty nuclear waste from Sellafield and every other nuclear reactor, especially Magnox. Magnox use, the reason they call it Magnox, it's used zinc and certain alloys, tin, to shield the rods that they use in nuclear reactors. Now when that stuff starts to deteriorate, they have to get rid of it. They have to get rid of it in storage facilities, repositories. Normally they were throwing it in canisters off the ships, but they got caught, and as I said, they have to look at suitable hard rock environments, normally with downward sloping on islands, small islands, which have got a very good history of somebody waving.
Just speak to the microphone.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I get a bit distracted sometimes. So, with a nuclear waste repository, what you have to look at is, who are the company directors? Have they ever been involved with the nuclear industry? And I found one, and his name was Dr. Hugh Morris. And Dr. Hugh Morris was one of the board of directors of Anglesey Mining. And at the time was 1989 to 1991, when the Magnox power station shut down. So we're talking about an environmental disaster area, not in 20 years' time, maybe not in 50 years' time, maybe not in 100 years' time. But if there's a seismic event within that area of the mine, what we're looking at is catastrophic disaster for the environment, for nature, for people, and mostly for people, because even in 250,000 years' time, that is still toxic. Do you understand? Not in 100 years, 250,000 years' time, it will still poison you. And if that stuff leaks out and leaches through the surface water tables, that will then enter the streams, it will enter to wildlife, and it's catastrophic. I want to bring about justice, not just for fraud, theft, money laundering, insider trading using these optional shares, but to face the justice system for what they're doing to Wales, to Anglesey. All right, I'm going to have a little sip of water now, but any questions?
Speak about justice, but how are we going to get justice when there's no legal courts like common law courts, for example?
No court of records neither anymore.
You know what I
No
mean?
court of record.
No court of records anymore. They used to have someone in the court typing everything that was said.
But you
do
can
it
take,
anymore.
within the court, you can take handwritten notes anyway, and you can buy a copy of the transcript, which I'm doing right now. We have put, to get the costs and expenses judged, to which we have to move our case forward with Andrea Davison. Anybody look at her up on the internet?
Back in the mic.
Oh, sorry, bloody thing. I'll have a clip on next time. Yeah, so if you go to the court, you can get a copy of the transcript, and that copy, depending on the length of time or your financial status, whether you get it at public expense. The one we are applying for, I get it at public expense because I earn, other than my military pension, nothing.
Do you not find that when you get transcripts, they're not always a true account of what was said?
Bloody right there, you were right. Yeah, there's bits missing, unaudible.
Conversations in that weren't had.
Yeah, but the general scope, if you see that there's things missing, is that normally you can challenge them with your files. And that's what we did with Andrea Davison, is that because she fled to South America with the documents that I've got, and anybody can come up here, anybody can get a copy. Trust me, this is the biggest political scandal in British history. If they brought her back here, there would be people in the Houses of Parliament and they would be wetting themselves. Why? Because I've got the documents.
So you ultimately, if you want the transcripts,
Yeah,
you apply for the full transcript.
that's correct.
You do not ask just for transcripts.
That's
because
correct.
The judge will.
Yeah, it's on the form. Full or partial or judgment.
Full stroke through and say full transcript.
Yeah, that's what we've applied for, and I did that the last 3 days.
Yeah, should be
It's
okay.
because our cases, which was started in 2011,
Yeah.
because she did a runner prior to her criminal trial. What they didn't want was anybody come across a woman called Victoria MacLeod in the Royal Courts of Justice? Nobody know
Yes.
of her?
Master McLeod got me before her. She's good master actually.
Say again?
She's a good master, Master McLeod.
Is she?
You want she's
The transgender.
Oh, you got it. Yeah. We didn't realise when we went. No disrespect,
I
eh?
was before her against some of the top Kent police barristers, and she awarded me cost against him when he was coming after me for £4.5 worth of legal fees.
So you won your case with her, before Master MacLeod. Well, what she tried to do with us was, because I had, using the warned list, I found out that Andrea Davison her criminal trial was due to start on the 4th of July 2012. Our case was heard on the 2nd. We showed the court clerk the warned list for her criminal trial. And if you know anything about the procedures in court, normally a criminal case will precede a civil case. Because based upon her evidence as being a truthful and honest person, she would then fall under the guise of being a complete liar or telling the truth. However, when we showed Master MacLeod the court warned list, she ignored that and carried on the trial. However, because of the content of the material that I put before the court, I named Andrea Davison's full organised crime system, money laundering to Vancouver, Canada, and Limassol, Cyprus, Gibraltar, Malta, many other places where she was part of a bigger organisation running hundreds, if not thousands, of shell companies with an illegal, unregistered company formation agency. So, What I didn't do was try to jeopardise the criminal case with the information that I'd already given the Derby police, and so under full disclosure I refused to give the full system before court, because what it would do was she would get a copy. Do you understand? She could warn the people that I had them. And however, they found for Miss Davison on the technicality of failure to comply to full disclosure. So we took that and we went to the appeals court, which was obviously because she was sent, before the courts in the Mole Crown Court on the 4th of the 7th, not the 2nd, the 4th. She did a runner on the same day that we went to court. She fled this country with no passport, no access to bank accounts, but with very close friends like Lord Douglas Hoyle, Tony Blair, David Cameron. She fled the country, and that's why I fight for justice for people like you, that you don't understand how these thieving, conniving, right honourable ermine vermin are extracting the urine out of all you people.
Can I ask one thing?
Yeah.
If they're doing this in Anglesey, is it a possibility that they could be doing it in other parts?
Oh, they are. They are under the guise of fracking.
Oh, I see.
Because I've looked into, you know, Ian Rowland Crane.
Yeah, I know him.
You know him?
Yeah.
All right. Ian Rowland Crane had a case against Rathling Energy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I met him at Barton Moss.
Yeah, he came to my house.
Right.
I showed him, why are you going to court with Rathling Energy when they're £2,400,000 in debt? How can a company that's £2,400,000 in the red take you to court and pay their solicitors? However, Mr. Ian Rowland Crane, I pointed out, was previously with a certain company. Do you know that company? Schlumberger. Do you know one of the executives of Schlumberger? His name is Ronald Reno. Ronald Reno was also the head board executive of FTL Consulting, which was guided to Michelle Young. Do you know Michelle Young? Michelle Young was at the last British Constitution. She sat on the head table.
Yes.
Yeah, well, Michelle Young came with Tom from the Sunday Times to my house to ask me for help. And it goes round and round in circles, the same people. So, Michelle Young come to my house with Tom Harper from the Sunday Times to ask me for help to find out where 800 million disappeared of Scott Young's. Well, I showed him where it happened, and I showed her that FTL Consulting and Jai House is on the Panama Papers. Linked to, hang on, where's that address again? Oh yeah, 788, 790 Finchley Road. So, I don't believe as an engineer, repetitive coincidence in common addresses all linked to the same people.
Can I just, my main question, because I'm with a group called PLD, we stand under Article 61.
Yeah.
And we tend to go by the case of, look, you don't recognise any of their authority. Now, who are you complaining to, so who are you bringing your case to?
Well, anybody that will bring to account politicians who refuse to use this information, to bring to justice politicians who are lining their pockets and members of the House of Lords who are working as directors of non-existent mining companies, but have the powerful influence of making decisions to protect these people running these Ponzi scams. I'm not talking millions, I'm talking hundreds of billions of pounds.
Is there anyone left that's listening though? Is there anyone left that's listening to us that isn't in the scam?
Oh,
or that is willing to actually take a chance?
These people have been running in my research for about 40 years. And that stems from going back to the mining companies that operate on the alternative investment market, which is purely for startup companies to raise money by selling shares to private investors, to banks, pension funds, but nobody ever put it together. I was the first one that could see that there was a common pattern for common directors who played what they call musical chairs in multiple companies that were billion-pound debt-facilitated companies.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You keep pointing to this folder here. Is this the information that you've accrued?
No, this is... No, trust me, I've got hundreds of
Access to this.
Yeah, look. within the last, when I returned back from South Africa in 2006, I did what every normal person would do. I went to my MP. I showed him information that would lock up Tony Blair, because it was linked to SAS commanders like Simon Mann. Anybody heard of him?
Yeah.
Well, Simon Mann was running Executive Outcomes and Sandline International, along with his chums and his political mates, who included Sir Mark Thatcher. And any time they want to take me, I'll show them documents that I got from South Africa. They'll wet themselves, and so they should. Pardon?
Why don't you show the IRS?
Oh, trust me, I can have it vouched for. I've been recently with the London Met Murder Squad and Serious Organised Crime Unit. I gave a 1 3/4 hour recorded deposition affidavit, which probably being acted on right now. That was 2 weeks ago.
But you can do an information referral if you find a vehicle like an empty shell company, for instance.
Oh, I've reported it to HMRC.
You need to do the IRS because it covers internationally.
Well,
You
it's
track that lady internationally wherever she goes and tries to open any other vehicles.
look, I'm just one person with a bookload of paperwork. It's cost me a fortune, trust me. It's to identify and be able to sit back now and systematically, through your help and for me giving you information, that you can query it. Don't just take my word for it. Just look at some of the names I've put there. Put 788, 790 Finchley Road.
I do that kind of research myself and actually do corporate structures for those reasons to, operate in securitisation, SPVs and stuff like that. And I know that if there was ever a question of, any of the finances, that I would be doing an information referral via 39498 to the IRS.
Yeah, so when you start to talk about thousands of company formation agents who are then transferring money to Barbados, to Panama, you're starting to go beyond your realms of a single person to be able to format. I had one referral. They said to me, ring action fraud. Put it in an email. Put it in an email. I said, all right. I'll put it in an email. I'll finish it in about 10 years' time. I wanted them to come to me and sit with an auditor, a forensic financial accountant and auditor, and I would go through it stage by stage and prove 100% that I am 100% accurate in how they have managed to steal hundreds of billions. Just take one company, Anglesey Mining. I reported them to HMRC for a start, just for a start. Look, maybe I'm what they call peeing into the wind. I have to start with who I believe are the accounting authorities within this country.
The IRS, you can actually get it as a PDF online, 39498.
Yeah.
Section B of that form will give you lots of reasons why you're doing the information referral, and I'll give you a couple of examples.
Well, if you come to me later on, after I've finished, and you can give me some details which I'll act upon, and trust me, I've got the patience of, not Job, I haven't got the patience of Job, but I'm a bloody good fly fisherman, and I'm a good engineer, and I know that it takes, when you want to find a problem, it might take years to find out how you can rectify it and fix it. I'm just trying, with this appearance and this bit of an open speech, is to show you that there's many ways to skin a cat. I'm looking to skin some big cats, like Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn. But it starts when you cut the legs off. Don't clap. Really, it makes me sick, what I have known for many years.
So where's the information, this information, can we get this off the website?
Yeah, you come to me.
Yeah.
Come to my house. Bring the camera. And a sleeping bag in a tent. Some British real sandwiches. And I will give you freely information that will make you want to vomit as well. Not because it makes me vomit, because what I served for, and everybody that I served with, we believed. I don't believe now.
What governing bodies are listed, doing? So you present your evidence to. What are doing something about it? Because,
well, as I said, the last 2 weeks I've been with a Met Police Murder Squad and with a Serious Organised Crime Unit.
Because if I was to follow your work on,
Yeah.
And I was there to talk to you, follow it up, write some stuff down. How would I kind of go on from you and, like you say, and contact those people? If someone is doing it and doing this,
the easiest thing
to go to.
Yeah. When you make a declaration of criminality against a member of the House of Lords or an MP, it has to be substantiated by forensic documents. And that's what I'm good at. Because everything I touched in the mining industry and in the Royal Air Force, I had a sign for.
But I know you're good at that. But the people you're presenting it to, that are then judging whether that's a case to go to court.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If that middle person's corrupt, then we're screwed in a way.
Of course we're screwed, because the MPs are not going to bring down their own political party, because they're in it for their own survival and that of their political party, to gain one control, and that's the piggy bank. Because that's what they're doing. They don't give a crap what they say to you prior to the general election, because they can always go back on it once they get in. Once they control the piggy bank, the money, that's it. They don't give a crap whether they put a cross on their mark. Yeah.
I need to ask you, you've said that most of your research has been into mining and exploration companies.
No, not just mining,
But presumably this goes across the whole
the world.
So the issue of shell companies exists in just about every single endeavour that you could imagine.
Look, how they steal $1 billion. If you set up one company on the alternative investment market, you sell 20 million shares, so much per share. How they steal it is they loan it to their mates in Australia for exploration as a subsidiary company. But people don't look at the paperwork, because paperwork's bloody boring, trust me. They don't look at that to see that they're also directors of the subsidiary company, also getting a salary. Now the subsidiary company writes off that £20 million on exploration. The main parental company says, well, money's gone, we'll have to sell some more shares. The original shareholders lose the value because they bought at a certain rate. Now they're flooding it with 200 million more shares. And then they cash burn that, and then they start again. And they run these companies for 10 to 15 years. And they've been getting away with it. I'm telling you.
And there's no one investigating at all.
No,
it's just
me.
An empty
Why are you going to say that Amber Augusta Rudd with Monticello, linked to Finchley Road, linked to Lord Janner, linked to David Allen Pillman, who is on the Duke of Edinburgh's award scheme? You know, I'm not peeing into the wind. This gentleman.
Speaking of which, peeing into the wind. Isn't the problem here that we are placing too much faith in agencies of the control system? You know, if you've got a problem with the head of the mafia, he'll refer to one of his agents. You know, so you've got to see, did you say you've been to the serious fraud squad and made a declaration? Well, are they not part of the system? I mean,
of course.
What I'm saying is, correct me if I'm wrong, but did you not go and do a presentation to the people of Anglesey?
Yes. Yeah, my stuff is on there. I was going to show it, but maybe I haven't got enough time. But
how much faith do you have in a serious fraud squad?
Not a lot.
No.
But I want to create a bit of a stir, because I'm not going to go quietly into the night.
No, well, I'm not surprised if you did. There's no reason to. But what was the response from the people of Anglesey? This is my...
A lot of them, because I was threatened before I went down there.
By who?
People in Anglesey that linked to the county council. Because they've been paying money in grants to Anglesey County Council. Sorry, Anglesey County Council have been given grants to Anglesey Mining PLC for much of 34 years, that when production starts they'll get their money back with interest. But it's never going to go there.
And you presented that to the people?
Yeah, and the two councillors walked out after 10 minutes because I said they were as corrupt as shit.
Anglesey is a very closed unit. The whole island's owned by about 7 different families.
Exactly. That's right. And they've been doing this historically, because when you check the board of directors of Anglesey Mining PLC, a certain gentleman, Robert Ian Cuthbertson, see, I know all these names. Robert Ian Cuthbertson has a brother who is linked to the Welsh Education Authority. They're extracting the euro.
Nothing on Anglesey within that council without their say-so, basically.
Yeah, well, as I said, is that we're talking about, industrial organised crime, where these people are inducted because of their corruption ability. And that's where it started with Andrea Davison understanding where she was running a honey trap club in Bangor called Club Odessa, which was also called Club Russia. And she was recruited back in 1985, because I've got the full history on this lady and her family. And she was recruited back in 1985 by the people running Druid House, 13 Men View Terrace, who are linked to ENI Petroleum and all its hundreds of subsidiary companies. So now we're starting to get to the nitty-gritty. One, she's linked to senior politicians, members of the House of Lords. She's linked to the same, she was selling fake share certificates. That's what she was, part convicted of. That and fake Breitling watches, money laundering to Limassol. She got another 2 years for failing to comply with the order to return £3 million from various bank accounts in Limassol, Cyprus. Now I dismantled their whole system, everything, all their money laundering mechanisms to Limassol. One gentleman operating out of the City of London through her other companies, and then linked to 41 directorship ID numbers. And trust me, Michael Andrew Gray. And when you find out how many companies that he was running, all out of 6 addresses in Limassol, Cyprus, luckily I served there at 103 MU at RAF Akrotiri. So I know every street there because I've still got the street maps. I don't chuck paperwork away, my missus will tell you it's like but I do know every single street that was there at the time, and I do know that when you start to operate one company director, Michael Andrew Gray, and he also operated it, swinging his name round to Gray Michael Andrew. And Gray Michael Andrew operated a company out of 193 Market Street, Hyde, Cheshire. Put it in your internet, do a Google search. It's a little blue, dirty, filthy door in the high street that if you look at it, it's got one office there. From there, operated multiple companies like she was operating in Bangor. And what they were doing was setting up illegal company formation agencies linked to £1 million, £1 billion organised crime, linked to politicians and members of the House of Lords. Can I bring these people down? I'm going to have a bloody good go.
Has anyone been picked off of a lesser kind of on the triangle?
They took her out of the system because...
So they set a precedent there then?
Yeah, they look at taking the lower end people out and then showing the public, oh well...
Well, it's like the footballers thing, isn't it? It's just like, it's attack
football clubs. Football clubs. Do you like football clubs in corruption? No. Try Portsmouth. Portsmouth Football Club. If you look at the board of directors of where the shareholders come from, it's using organised crime money linked to fake oil, gas and mining companies. Trust me. Yeah, there's a certain gentleman that wrote about it as a researcher, as a supporter of Pompey.
Because there's something going on there with the sports industry and
money laundering.
Because it seems to be such a massive amount that's funneled into it. Every now and then they're used as a scapegoat, the players are to, give them a battering about the wages and this and the other thing. The common man there.
Well, Beckham,
they say.
Alex Ferguson.
The usuals, and then
Ingenious Film Company.
But it seems to be a big circle of money that does. That's just.
You see, there's a big club, and we ain't in it. That's what it is.
I don't want to be in it.
Yeah. Pardon?
I don't want to be in it.
Check my wallet, see how much I got. Do I want to be in it? Because if I was, my father would beat the shit out of me. No, he would. He worked hard all his life. I used to see him coming home with big cotton wool pads over his eyes where he had swarf that spun. He was an MTSO, machine tool setter operator. And he used to come home with 2 ambulance people holding him, bringing him in through the door. Would I take a quid from these people? Not a doubt. And I'm sure you would. But what we're looking for is accountability by the very people who set about structuring our country and selling it off to their mates, in no disrespect to India, to the USA, to China, selling it off. They've got a club. It's, you know, called a chamber of commerce between individual companies. I've been to the Russian embassy. I walked to the Russian embassy to try to expose to Putin exactly how they were running massive money laundering companies called Yukos Oil. It's Y-U-K-O-S. Anybody want to check it on the internet? Guess where that company was registered? 788. So when I went to the Russian embassy, they went to the main door, and there was an intercom, and I said, I'd like to divulge information to the Russian embassy and to Russia to show how they're using my country to money launder assets from Russian public listed companies through various conduit addresses or admin addresses, and that was 788, 790 Finchley Road. I'll go round to the other entrance, he said in a broken Welsh accent. So I went round the back, and there was 2 British cops at their door, at their gate, and I said, I would like to speak to their secretary. What are you here for? I said, I want to speak to them, I don't want to speak to you. He said, but what are you talking about? I said, it's nothing to do with you. This is the Russian embassy. I want to give Putin information to lock up Thatcher, to Theresa May, Jeremy Corbyn, which will help the people of Russia and Putin be able to confront my government about the corruption involved in asset stripping Russia, because it's linked to the Rothschilds. So they said, send it all in an email. I just wanted an interview to be able to help them to go through it stage by stage in one company. Start with Yukos Oil or Desire Petroleum, Falcon Oil and Gas, where these people have been for 30 to 40 years stealing hundreds of billions, which could go to cancer hospitals, NHS, it could go to the old miners' retirement pensions, you know, steel workers, shipbuilders, it could go to any of them, just recover it under the proceeds of crime. And that's what I wanted to do. Yeah.
It's the fact, of course, that NN Rothschild advised the Tory government under Thatcher about the sale of all the industry, the telephone and the rest of it.
Yeah.
Are you convinced that, I mean, I don't trust any politician as far as I'm concerned.
No, me neither.
Where does Putin stand in all of this? Because am I right in thinking there is still the central bank of Russia is still controlled by the Rothschilds?
Of course it is.
So is Putin simply another public figure of the state?
I don't know. I'm just trying my best to be able to. If the British government, MI5, MI6, wanted to take me to court for being a traitor to my country, let them try. I'm here to defend my country. Not against business people who have their own pockets involved. I want to bring those people who take a salary to become a politician just to focus and concentrate on what they're paid to do, not to be running 25 different companies linked to oil, gas and mining, which are not real companies. And until somebody starts somewhere, that's what I say, start one place, Anglesey Mining. There's no answer to them because they're all running like rats. I know that because I follow them on the internet. I love it. It's a game. And when you start to take emotion into it, because trust me, I'm non-emotional when it comes to hunting these pieces of vermin down. I will hunt them. They tried to take me to court. They bashed on my door in 2013. A company called Memory Crystal. They acted on behalf of a certain member who was given an honour. His name was Sir Samuel Essen Jonah, and his cohort, his name is Peter Landau. Well, a few months ago, the Australian Federal Police seized all his assets and froze them. I think it's because of the information that I sent them. And there's other people as well. Now, when they bashed on my door at 10 o'clock at night and thrust a letter in my hand, I've got it here. Anybody want to check it? And its content. They said I must pay them £3,000 for their work. That company, Memory Crystal, is also the admin agency, the legal firm, for multiple other companies that I've named as being Ponzi scams. Well, when I said that I would use the correspondence from Mark Eischinger because Sir Samuel S. and Jonah is linked to Uramin Inc. They all ran away. I love it. It's a game. I don't take emotion into this. I know I'm on the right track.
Why are we relying on a system that we know is corrupt?
Why?
This is what I can't get around.
I can't get around it. Never mind
How
you.
do we get around that? How do we
It's a game.
It's a game. Yeah, it's a game.
Well, you say you
Don't
can't
forget
play
it.
the game.
Oh, listen, when they knocked on my door and they frightened my missus, they didn't know what they were dealing with. Trust me, I've been shot at in my time, and I don't give a shit. Excuse me, I don't. If they want to target me, trust me, if they hit me, there'll be shit all over the world, trust me. And that's what I'm working on. I don't wear this because I didn't love my service. I did love it. But as an engineer, I was there fixing things, not destroying things. I wasn't a pilot with air-to-ground missiles or nuclear weapons, because I worked with nuclear weapons in my time at Akrotiri and Larbrook. So I know exactly what they're capable of. I was an NBC shelter marshal, decontamination trained. So I know the consequences of using that shit. Now we've got somebody like Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn said, oh, we'll push the button. God help us, eh? Just Amber Augusta Red, what's she doing there? It shows that she's part of the never-ending circle of corruption that can be taken down as long as you get some... I don't trust the media.
They're all unelected at the end of the day, aren't they?
Pardon?
They're all unelected. All these
Of course they are.
They're all unelected.
But now they...
Why are they unelected?
Well, we've been groomed into this system of acceptance as through many generations. Oh, well, if you don't vote, you're not going to change anything. But they use dirty money to promote these politicians. And that's what that gentleman read out from here was Mark Eischinger, a lovely man. Now, he contacted me 5 years ago when he read something that's on the internet, and you can copy it. It's called Secret South African Disruption. And trust me, I've been dealing, or I was given a heads up by an intelligence officer who used to work for the apartheid government. And he told me how filthy my government was and how it's all involved in bribery, fraud, corruption. So I'm going to try and start, like I've told many people, I met Nelson Mandela when I worked as a facilities engineer at the University of Transkei. It's now the Walter Sisulu University. I went, he invited me and my late wife to his house. After he sat down on a couch with me in the executive dining room of UNITRA and told me what a bunch of filthy, scheming, corrupt scum I served for. And I know that because Sir Mark Thatcher was on the file, the police file, of my partner's fraud case, which I had a look at. And that's what drives me. It drives me not to be recriminative, but to find out the truth and justice for people like you. And it has to start somewhere. Trust me, I'm having the best go at Anglesey.
So you've got the knowledge.
Yeah.
That's obvious. Knowledge without power to push that knowledge.
You're right.
When you're falling down. So why not stand as a local MP?
I was offered £500. They were going to put £500. Look, I'm 65. I want to go fishing again. I want to hand... I'm good fly fishing. Saltwater as well.
Whatever, rod in the water.
Yeah, saltwater fly fishing. I've caught Garrick, 36 kg Garrick. You know what a Garrick is? Yeah. I've caught cavalry, Cape salmon. I've caught 104 pounds. Off the beach in my underpants.
Back to the question.
Yeah, all right. Fishing. Sorry.
Live streaming.
Yeah, well, I love fishing. So I want to go fishing, but I'm prepared to help anybody to use this material, to understand it in its simplest breakdown form, to be able to use that and confront these pieces of crap. And I will help them.
Did you get to address the people of Anglesey?
Pardon?
Did you get to address the people of Anglesey?
Yeah, it's, if you go, I was going to show you on here, Peter Bromfield, YouTube, Anglesey. Just put that in, see if you can come up with something. There's four parts when I address them, wearing my jacket because my suits don't fit anymore.
Lost weight.
No, I stopped smoking.
What, Peter Bromfield Anglesey?
Yeah, Peter Bromfield, YouTube, you should come up with some of his Anglesey, there's 4 parts, and I gave an address at the Memorial Hall, which I've got on here, I'll show anybody. It was in 4 sections because using a micro card, it takes so, you only got so long with a video camera or a small camera. Like I've got plenty of Nikon cameras, but you can't do, unless you do an override on the system, you can't get more than 5 minutes on HD. However, at that address, I nailed them all the directors. I accused them of running a nuclear waste repository. But I've got, if I've got I don't know how long you're going to give me time. Can you give me another
20 years.
Would you like to listen to a recording? I'm not going to go on there, but I'll let you listen to a recording.
Is another 10 minutes all right for you?
Yeah.
The date is the 10th of the 5th, 2017, and it's to his office, which is the Rights and Representation Foundation. Just see if he's available today. I did go there yesterday. There was nobody in his offices at the marketplace in Derby.
Chris Williamson, ex-MP, beaten by Amanda Solway, whose husband ran a debt facility company out of, guess where? Doesn't that name come up?
Hello, who's speaking? Hello, who's speaking?
Judge Wilkinson.
Is there any chance that I could make an appointment to see Chris Williamson? What's it regarding? It's regarding information that might be helpful to Jeremy Corbyn. Right, okay. Yeah, well, you don't speak You work and run the office. When are you available other than maybe later on this afternoon? I'll tell you what it is. I'm a corporate fraud researcher, and I tried to help Chris Williamson while he was in office as an MP. I do have credibility in helping French prosecution services in a $2.5 billion fraud. Is it? Next week. Okay then. Is that alright? Well, I would have thought it would have been beneficial to Jeremy Corbyn to get this information as soon as possible. Okay. So, bring it down next week. That's it. I've got to go back. Bring it down to about Thursday. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Bob. Well, there you go. You can hear what was said then and the understanding of why there is problems within politics of trying to get the truth out and the corruption within politics. Okay, end of recording.
Thank you for calling the office of Jeremy Corbyn, the leader of the Labour Party. Due to the general election and collision of Parliament, this telephone line is no longer in use. If you would like to contact Jeremy Corbyn, you can email him on leader@labour.org.uk. Alternatively, you can telephone the Labour Party on 0345 092 2299. If you live in Lincoln North and you are contacting Jeremy Corbyn as a Labour candidate there, you can email him on jeremycorbyn@islingtonnorthlabour.com. Alternatively, you can telephone on 0203 475-3476. That mailbox cannot accept messages at this time. Welcome to the parliamentary voicemail system. To lock up your own mailbox, press #1. To leave a message for another mailbox user, press #2.
Patience, I got plenty.
Well, there you have it. Let's join the campaign team for Jeremy Corbyn. I'll try another number that I have, and we'll see where we go from there. I'm going to try to ring the Labour Party, where the website for the Labour Party asks, Jeremy Corbyn wants to hear questions for Theresa May to answer, to hold her to account at Prime Minister's questions. Well, I'm going to ring the number. It's 0345 092 2299.
Thank you for calling the Labour Party. Please choose from one of the following options so we can best direct your call. Calls may be recorded for training and monitoring purposes.
Oh, unrecorded for
To
training.
join the Labour Party, make a donation, renew your membership, or discuss existing membership, please press 1. From Campaign Shop, please press 2. If you would like to talk to us about any aspect of our campaign technology, including Contact Creator, Nation Builder, Campaign Creator, Dialogue, Promote, or MembersNet, please press 3. For queries about annual conference and events, please press 4. Or, if you would like to speak to a member of staff about another Labour Party issue, including advice or support for local membership activities, please press 5.
5.
If you know which head office department you would like to speak to, press 1. For other Labour Party matters, press 2.
2.
Good afternoon, it's Mr. Bowden. I'm calling from Derby. I read part of the website for the campaign team for Jeremy Corbyn. Jeremy Corbyn, throughout the advertisement, says he wants questions for Theresa May to answer to hold her to account at Prime Minister's question time. Now, I know the election is up and forthcoming. However, I've been sending Jeremy Corbyn detailed forensic information on certain members of the Tory government surrounding Amber Augusta Rudd. Now, she is the General Secretary for Theresa May and was given her appointment. Now, I've been a corporate fraud researcher for much of 15-16 years. I'm an ex-Royal Air Force engineer, I'm an ex-mining engineer. And Amber Augusta Rudd fell under my scrutiny many years ago because of her involvement in the Toronto Stock Exchange mining companies, zinc and diamond. Now, if you haven't any information on Miss Amber Augusta Rudd, I have the information that would cause her to be held to account, as in holding public office and her involvement in massive Ponzi scams. And so, if you understand, I do have credibility. I've been working with French investigators in the Arriva and Uramin Ponzi scam of $2.5 billion. So this goes back historically to where I've aided and assisted French investigators. Now, I don't say this lightly. I'm an ex-Air Force engineer, and I hold a very high regard to my service, where we promoted our country all over the world. Now, I don't expect any politicians, when it comes to disclosing information, to hold back on anything which is detrimental to the integrity of my country, to which we all serve. And he would know, Jeremy Corbyn would know as a public servant, that it's his responsibility and his duty of care. When I've sent him emails to his team, they haven't had the courtesy to answer me or to call me back with information that will bring about serious consequences to certain members of the Tory government.
Right, I see. No, I see where you're coming from. Will you send that by email, was it?
I sent it, it's all recorded to other recipients, in as much as given the content of the information surrounding Amber Augusta Rudd and many others of the Tory party involved in being directors of Ponzi scam oil, gas and mining companies, is that we are looking on massive fraud, theft and deception and insider trading on an industrial scale. Do you understand? I would like, as I believed in throughout my adult life, I'm 65, is that we look upon politicians with trust, honour, integrity and accountability. That's what I would hope, and I think every member of the armed forces would think that we do so. But when you see I have approached the ex-Labour MP Chris Williamson and Margaret Beckett with information which is substantial in forensic accountability, is that I would hope that they would have taken this forward. But they've obviously, if you want to clean out politics, you sometimes have to start within your own house. Do you understand?
Yes. No, I understand. One thing I recommend, I don't know where, Joe Machine on the address being said, that's you in the class, was that?
Well, it's received an automated reply, so obviously it has been received, otherwise it wouldn't come about that you get an automated reply back. And my concerns are that because of the sensitivity of the information that I've sent, Mr. Corbyn is very reluctant to bring this about because, one, the information that I gave would lock up Tony Blair for 25 years and many other Labour politicians who seem to be involved as directors of non-existent Ponzi scam oil, gas and mining companies. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Peter Hain.
I know what. Yeah. I would like to help the Labour Party. Do you understand? I am not political, but if we are to get Theresa May to be held to account with her appointment of Amber Augusta Rudd, then there needs to be a total open transparency within politics as where they get their money from to fund their political agendas. That's why I'm phoning you. The information that I have is forensically accurate, and if need be, with the forthcoming election, you need to start, because you've had a drubbing from the Tory party. I don't like that with the knowledge that I have, and I would expect somebody within your organisation to understand. I give this freely. There's no. I don't have a political agenda.
I can recommend, if I've got an email address, if I can try it again, just to double check I've got the right one.
Yeah.
You can send it in, and you can also send it through to us in the production team.
Yeah.
You can also tap that on.
Yeah.
I'll give you both their email addresses now.
Okay, no problem. Thanks very much.
So, obviously, just want to check according to the leadership of this, you'll be a member of the team, okay, because obviously you've got the interim.
Is that the leader?
It's the leader at labour.org.uk.
I've sent it.
Right, okay, well, if you want to try, you can send it through to our Labour membership team, and to contact us, you can email us at Labour membership. So
Yeah. Yeah.
At labour.org.uk. And then we'll be able to pass it on from there.
If you understand how sensitive this is, I don't say this lightly, and I have tried my best as my duty of care to ensure that politics is changed in its attitude to transparency, to where people get money from. And whether it's Labour, Tory, Lib Dem, I don't really care. We need to change it so that the people of this country have some dignity in their politicians.
Yes, no, I totally see where you're coming from. But yes, you can send it through to us and we can have a look at that. I will do. What we've seen. And I'm going to have to shoot off because we've got a lot of course papers.
Okay, sorry about that. Sorry for taking your time.
I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for calling us. I do appreciate it.
It's a pleasure, and thanks for taking the call. What I'll do is I'll CC back to you what I have sent previously. Is that okay?
Great. That'll be great.
Thanks for taking the call, Thanks very much.
No worries.
Thanks, Cheers, bye.
There you have it. Irrefutable. There you have it. So,
What happened?
well, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting. Oh, you know, it was only yesterday that trust me, this is modern. This is not last year, this is modern. So, just a few things is that when you ask people to be accountable, I don't give a crap whether it's Jeremy Corbyn, Theresa May, or anybody else. I don't care. What they have to be is held to account by you, by yourselves, who put a cross in a box. Not to think that because they're public servants that they can get away with it because they're in the pockets of the Rothschilds. I don't want to go the Rothschilds route. I'll stick to Anglesey mining, and it'll have the same effect because it'll link certain members of the House of Lords, politicians, all taking cuts. That's what it's all about. Thank you, Tom.
A library of knowledge.
Crap.
No, that's a bit personal.
No, people don't understand, as you quite rightly said, paperwork.
Yeah.
And when it's dossiers after dossiers, what you've been fighting in your cases is that you understand from your angle, I understand from mine. We need to get together to be able to form a lot of people.
Well, this may help what I'm about to talk about. So I think a tea break for 15 minutes, is that agreeable? Yeah. But I think you find it very interesting what is hopefully planned.
If anybody wants to come to me, I'll give them some contact details. I was going to talk about something else, but I think I'll see that my well. Yeah, thanks. It's just a little query.
There's a lot of queries out there and we don't get the answer.